So like, how do you get a girl to like you that's madly in love with someone else? I know, the age-old question. A question that seems to be unanswerable these days, at least for me. You're probably looking for some context. Let me explain. I started my freshman year at Kingsborough High School earlier this semester. It wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. My parents tried to convince me that everything would be fine. Kingsborough is the best school in the state, they said. You make lifelong memories and friendships, they said. I met your father there, look at us now. To be fair, they met in the 70s, so everyone was feeling the love. Also, things have changed. For example, Let the Sunshine In isn't #1 on the Billboard charts anymore. We have rapping founding fathers now, instead of anti-Vietnam hippies. It's funny how show tunes become cool every couple of decades. Sorry, I rant a lot. Back to the story. Kingsborough, present day. Of course, my best friend Artie and I spent most of the first week trying to map out a plan to avoid Freshman Friday. Yeah, that's a thing. Let me tell you, if it weren't for my biology teacher, Mr. Renzing, allowing us to hide out during lunch in his lab, we'd be toast. Anywho, I spent my first few weeks mapping out the social structure of Kingsborough. It's an intricate web of who's in and who's not in. Who the heck is that? You have the normal hierarchy, jocks and geeks, hotties and hoteps, junior hoteps of course, Dr. Umars in training, stoners and loners, we got them all. It's what you'd expect, but for me, well, I didn't know where to situate myself. Plus, I couldn't leave Artie hanging. Well, he honestly could make it without me. He could sweet talk himself out of and into any situation. We've been pals since birth. Literally, we grew up on the same street. Our parents have been friends since we popped out of the womb. We're inseparable. So obviously, I had to be sorted with him. To answer your question, no. He's not the awkward, goofy sidekick in this YA coming-of-age story. He's actually really cool. He's like a super smart skater dude. He can solve an insanely difficult algebra equation and hit an ollie all at the same time. I'm not joking or exaggerating. He would have a way better time finding his place. Yet, he still struggles with understanding how cool he is. I mean, he's not clueless. He can spit game, but sometimes I don't think he realizes how much of a catch he is. He's like a super nerd in Tony Hawk's body. I, on the other hand, don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm not like a super nerd, but I'm pretty smart. I'm not cool, but I get along with some people. I'm just stuck in the middle. It's weird. My mom always says, be who God has made you to be. Seek him before anything and don't seek the approval of man. Plural. I can't tell you how many times she's quoted Galatians 1:10 at me. But you know, maybe she's right. The only thing is, the minute I walk into that school, all of that flies out the window. The minute I see her. Okay, so this is where we get to the heart of the problem. I really like this girl. She's in the drama club, just a year older than me, and my God, she is beautiful. It's like the female protagonist of a Netflix teen film walked out of my TV and into my life. Her name is Rose Harris. Here's the problem, though. She likes someone else. And okay. So I made up a name for the type of guy she likes. The type of guy that has been an eclipse in my life. I call them it guys. Just visualize the quotation mark fingers. They're basically tall, attractive guys with abs, usually on some sports team or another. They eventually grow up to be frat boys that grow up to be Quicken Loans mortgage bankers. But in the high school ecosystem, they're the top of the food chain. They're the equally hot equivalent of the teen movie vixen, but with an Adam's apple. There's a few at this school, but none as striking as Noah Frazier. Noah is a sophomore and the captain of the junior varsity football team. His brother Tyson is the senior and junior class's it guy supreme. I guess it's a family trait or something. I remember the first time I witnessed Noah. Yes, I said witnessed. He walked into the lunchroom with guys from the team, and everyone froze. I, on the other hand, was brushing up on my audition for the fall musical. Just reading through my sides. Yes, I'm a theater kid. You probably just thought to yourself, that's your clique. Not quite. I have to get into the club. It's kinda audition only. And even though I played a mean Joseph in my church's modern twist on the Nativity, I'm no Timothy Chalamet or whatever. Sorry, I have the attention span of a potato. Back to Noah. So he walks in, and, well, I was reading, then I looked up, and if it weren't for the intense fear of public embarrassment, I would have ran right out of there. Guys like this, it guys, fuel this weird need to compete in me. What makes it worse is Rose was looking at him too. He walked over to her and sat down, and the team followed suit. They started talking, and you could see the glint in her eyes. That's when I lost the glow in mine. So in that moment, I came up with a plan. I looked over at Artie and said, "Put away that pudding. We got to make a plan." Artie took another lick of his chocolate pudding and cocked his head to the side. "Oh yeah? And what's that?" "Project, Becoming It Guy. Commencing now." Guy? Why call it that? Why not Project Pretty Boy Doofus? Artie said, snort laughing from across the lab table. I reluctantly handed him a test tube. He poured some unlabeled liquid into it. "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" I asked. "I went to science camp. You didn't. Stay on your level. Now pass me the powder," he said with laser focus. "Now back to your identity crisis. Why can't you just be yourself and try to get her number?" He's so freaking honest about things. He's all, "You don't need to change yourself. Just be yourself and forget anyone that doesn't instantly like you," or whatever. His heart is in the right place, of course, but I don't think he understands that my heart will literally hop out of my chest if I don't at least try to impress her. I lean over and whisper, "How am I supposed to compete with Noah Frazier in this getup?" I point to my outfit. Artie rolls his eyes and says, "Well, I guess we'll have to give you a makeover, huh?" If I straight-faced him any harder, my face would literally get stuck, I'm sure. "We're not gonna act like you don't have the clothes for a social upgrade." He's right. I just hoped I'd never have to wear them. But desperate times call for desperate measures. "We can meet at your place after school, and I guess I'll give you some tips on how to dress," Artie said. I smiled at him and said, "Thanks, Art." Yeah, he said, smiling back. I handed him the powder, and he poured it into the test tube, and it overflowed like lava. "Now we're talking," Artie yelled. "Boys, don't blow up the school, please," Mr. Renzing yelled from across the room. We both leaned over the table, fighting with all our might not to bust out laughing. Don't you think changing yourself to impress a girl is, I don't know, a little 2004? Artie said, slinging his book bag on the floor next to my bed. It's never out of style to be a better version of yourself, Art, I told him. I mean, yes, growth is good, but isn't this a little much? You're smart. You can sing. You look good in an H&M blazer. I don't see much that has to change, dude. Artie is clearly delusional. I look moderately okay in an H&M blazer. He only knows that because he hung out with me and my brother last weekend and we hit up the mall. My brother has been trying to level up my style, so he made me try on this tight blazer and a pair of crotch huggers. For goodness sake, people actually wear this? I couldn't say much. One, because my brother insisted that I, quote, stop looking like mom dressed me in a pitch black dark closet. Ouch. I went from baggy jogging pants and polos to fitted graphic tees and ripped jeans. Well, I didn't wear them to school. My brother bought a bunch of stuff, but when he went back to college on Sunday, all that stuff was thrown into the closet. I guess I was just too nervous to put it on. Too scared to be laughed at for trying to be cool when I'm not. But maybe this is the moment to risk it. I don't know. Artie dug through my closet and pulled out a couple of choices and matched them. He pulled out a couple of shoes and I just sat there twiddling my thumbs. After moving outfits around on my bed and staring intensely like a mad scientist, Artie looked at me and said, "It's time." Way to be dramatic. Thanks for stealing my thing. Artie smiled, kicked my leg, and sat down. Get up, lover boy. Let me see outfit number 1. I shuffled through all the outfits he chose, and each time, Artie just sat there, observing. Once I exhausted all his choices, he looked at me and nodded his head. You're ready. I looked in the mirror and something weird happened. I saw someone different. I felt like the person I was looking at could talk to anyone. Someone that could talk to Rose with no hesitation. Just maybe. Artie broke my trance and asked, "You good?" Yeah, I'm good. Just processing. Don't feel pressured if it's too much, he said. No, I think this might be the beginning of something good. We're on to something. I looked back at Artie and smiled. He smiled back. Let's work on this plan of yours. What's step 1? I grabbed a notebook from my desk and said, Step 1, look the look. Step 2, talk the talk. C-Wing is the epicenter of Kingsborough. It connects to the Cube, a large open space with seating and floor-to-ceiling windows. It's where students go to be seen. Promposals and epic breakups all happen in the Cube. Today, the new Caleb made his introduction. Any other day, I'd be a fly buzzing through, an irrelevant presence, but today that all changed. Today, I activated step 1 of the plan and wore something I'd never dream of wearing. ripped light denim skinny jeans, a black sleeveless American Idiot t-shirt with a silver chain, and my signature black chucks. A little dusty, but it fit the aesthetic. Artie and I stepped into the cube, and it happened. For the first time, people turned their heads. People I'd never even talked to. People that never gave me the time of day cocked their heads to the side and smiled. Like, who is this guy? Is he new here? I walked straight ahead, eyes glued on the opening to the other wing, completely ignoring the fact that I was walking through a fishbowl. Artie leaned over and whispered, "Just walk. Don't make eye contact. Just keep the smolder and just walk." I closed my eyes, took a breath, and used every bit of my acting training to perform. I opened my eyes, and I wasn't the old Caleb anymore. For those 30 seconds as I walked through that room, I was the protagonist. I was the new kid in town. I was the man of the hour. I slipped my book bag onto one shoulder, and I swear everything went in slow motion. I glanced over at the north window, and right in front of it was her. Rose was seated at a table with Noah, some of the football players, and girls from the cheerleading squad. She looked up from her book, along with the others, and in that moment, I Noah Santaneo'd the best way I could. I smiled and turned my head. My mind raced. What did she think? What did they think? What if I look stupid? What if? But on the outside, I was the polar opposite. I was golden. I was the new it guy in town. Hey guys, it's Caleb. Thanks for listening to this episode of Project It Guy. I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you want to get more information about Project It Guy and other audio fictions, sleep stories, and print/ebook publications from my good friend Darius, visit DariusStoryLAB.com. That's DARIUS StoryLAB.com. You can also listen to Project It Guy on Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and basically anywhere you get your podcasts. This production is presented by Nightride. Thanks for listening, and share this story with your friends and family. See you next time for more Kingsborough shenanigans. All right, I got some algebra to knock out. Talk to you later.